All right. Good morning, everybody. Let me send through this alert to the Discord. Happy Wednesday, hump day, April 26th. Hopefully y'all are having a good start to your Wednesday. Currently watching the earnings stocks from last night with Google currently flat after earnings at 104.80 versus a close of 104.60, so not really much change, about 0.2% right now. Microsoft, on the other hand, very good in terms of the return after the earnings, currently at $296, so closing in on $300 versus closing yesterday at $275. So that one I think is up about 7 or 8%. Let me check. MSFT, Microsoft. I cannot type right now. Oh my gosh. Typed in A instead of an S like 5 times. Yeah, so currently up about 7.5% at $296. And it's coming up on this support resistance at $296.28. So we'll see where this goes. And if we're looking at QQQ, currently it's trading at $313.21. Right above that critical 313 level that we were watching yesterday, as well as 313 right below that. So watch out for those couple of price levels for QQQ today. And for SPY, we're looking at 406 as a support and then 410 as a resistance for today. So far, it's looking a little bit bearish in this last about 10 minutes based on the RSI at 44. But with QQQ, still above 50, so still looking slightly bullish at the moment. I'm going to keep my eyes on Google because I do have some long puts on it, assuming that it'll be below 108 with my break even. I think at 104. Yeah, 103.90 is my break even for those. So, wouldn't be too shocked if we saw another $1 drop for Google, but currently it looks like people are about to buy it into the open. Maybe going back to that 106.40 resistance that it tapped a couple of times in the after hours. Going to 400 today, that would be a pretty wild move. I think Microsoft would be the one that would need to come down in order to see 400 today, but with it up 7.5% today, it's hard to call for 400 with Microsoft up so much. Possible. Likelihood is low though. Apple really didn't get much love out of the Microsoft report, interesting enough. Trading down at 163 right now. At the lowest point that it's been in the last 2 days, even with the brutal sell-off yesterday. That's not a good look for Apple right now. So that could be what's dragging the markets down too, and why we're seeing QQ at 313 rather than seeing it at like 315, 316 or something like that. Apple closed at 163.77 yesterday, and now it's at 163.20. So it's not down that much, but still trading at the lows, which is not a good look for tech. All right, we got about 30 seconds till the bell goes off. Trading at 105.70, 105.60 for GOOG right now. Good morning, being human. Good morning. Hate the advertisement before I get into the room. Yeah, especially if you're joining at like 9:30. I would imagine that would be quite annoying. But trading at 105.30 for GOOG right now and dropping on the bell. My puts are up like $15 total. That's bleh. That sucks. Let's see. They're going for 415 right now. I bought them for how much? 408. So yeah, there's a lot of implied volatility IV crush going on in the contracts that I got at 108. If they're going for 450, that means that the person that's buying them from me is calling for a break even of 103.50. I think that we could hit 103 potentially, but it's really going to depend, I feel like, on what we're seeing for Microsoft. If that's pulling back this morning from its highs, then maybe we see 103. Because Microsoft is definitely elevating the rest of the tech stocks at the moment. But, man, the bid-ask spread on these is kind of crazy. 340 to 420 on the bid-ask spread for these 108 puts. Now bouncing right back up to 105. So a lot of volatility in this first 5 minutes. I'm hoping that we can see 103, but not quite there yet. Kind of want to wait out the first 10 minutes just for the bid-ask spread to settle a little bit, because it's just so wide. It's like 50 cents wide at the moment. They're going for 340 at the bid. And I chose the 108 strike, so they're calling for a break-even of 104.60. So basically, the buyers for this option are assuming no extrinsic value at all after the earnings. Gotta love it. How about Boeing earnings? I haven't checked in on them. Let's see, BA, Boeing, currently trading at $210 after an earnings of negative 127 versus negative 98 expected. That's a pretty sizable miss. I think Boeing's been doing pretty well, though. Given that, the tensions between Russia, Ukraine, and China, Taiwan, they probably have good guidance because it's a defense contractor, which is likely what's sending their stock up. I'm not exactly sure. Financial outlook after latest 737 MAX problem. They're narrowing their losses from 175 to negative 127, which is good. But yeah, I'm not really seeing any guidance here. I would imagine that that's probably what's boosting their stock, though, is any good guidance from the company based on the issues that we're having overseas. All right, Google's down to 103.79, almost at that 103 mark that I'm calling for. My contracts are gaining a little bit of value at 430 a piece. So there's still like no extrinsic value for these options. The break even for that would be 108 minus 430, which will be 103.70. I really wish that they would give me some extrinsic value for it, but that IV crush is really, really killing me. But thinking about closing these at 500 a piece. That's what I wanted to close them at yesterday, but I didn't get that chance before the bell. So hopefully I can snag out of these at 5. I'll place my limit order in. I have 2 of them that I bought for 400 something, 430, I think. And we're inching closer to 103. It's going to be a support, obviously, based on the pre-market lows. So watch out for that. I might just sell one of them and keep the other to see if we dip below the 500 mark. Or, sorry, the 103 mark. I think I'd rather close it at both of them at 103, actually. Not take my chances. Looks like Microsoft is pulling back. Only up 6.9%. Only. Versus 7.5% earlier. So it tagged the top of your risk range at 298, and it's pulling back from that right now. And Google getting a little bit of support right now at about 103.50. What about SPY today? Let's see. SPY's trading at 406.80. There's supports at 406. Resistance at 410. If Microsoft starts to go south, I think we could crack the 406 mark. And then if you're looking at QQQ, that would be way down even more. And I would imagine that that's probably going to close below $313 today, in my best guess. But yeah, there was some support at 103.50 for Google, so we couldn't break that price level just yet. Now they're pricing in at least a little bit of extrinsic value to them. Not very much, but some at least. And bouncing right back up. Let's see. They're going for 360 at the bid, 390 for the ask price. Let's see what I bought them for. I think 430 again. Actually, a little bit less than that, 388 each. So I'm close to break even for these. I'd like to get a little bit more than break even, but bouncing close to that 103 mark from the pre-market lows doesn't seem like a promising bet to hold to the downside. Just hoping I can get out at a little bit of a better price. They're going for 360 right now. Might be able to get out at 370. No, they just moved that bid down to 355. They're just kind of caught up in this first 5-minute candle right now. All right, they might be able to give me 380 for it. Hopefully. Yeah, I was able to get out of 380 there. So a little small loss there. Some Ivy crush. Unfortunate, but that is the name of the game when it comes to earnings. If the stock doesn't move a ton, you're not going to make any money either way. We got a huge move off of the earnings like right after, but it did not follow through. So small loss for me. All right. Closing options alert. Premium members. Just cut losses on the 108 Google put expiring 428 at 380 each. I typed in the wrong expiration, but yeah, 428. I typed 427. There is no 427 expiration for Google, so there we go. So that trade, opened those for 390 something each. One for 430, and then the other for 385, 430, 815 over 2, paid about 408. So 408 times 2, 816 minus my 760 in credit for a $56 loss. Not too bad. Could have been a lot worse if Google was trading at 108 like it was right after their earnings. But yeah, out of that position for now. Love from Australia, Mr. Worldwide. Thoughts on FRC situation? I think the FRC is in a pretty sticky spot after 40% of their deposits ended up leaving the bank, and there were some talks in Washington about how everybody's selling out of FRC and how that could cause a bank run, and I think that's probably the case for them. I don't know if it's, going to zero and going bankrupt. It's impossible to say how long it would take. But, this is kind of what fueled SVB going down with their stock falling like hell. So, I'd probably bet on the downside, but the timing of it is unknown. So I would just stretch your expiration date out. Thoughts for Meta earnings? They're reporting today after hours. They're doing pretty well even after Google is down after earnings. Usually, these two will trade like hand in hand with each other. It's a sympathy trade. So I think that Meta has some room to come down on the earnings report. They've already fell from 220 to 211. So like $10 for $200 stock is like 5%. So they could come down more, maybe, 6 to 8% to something like 205 possibly. But we really have to see their earnings in order to determine that, I guess. It's already trading at 211, so another $6 down isn't too far of a shot, considering that it's trading close to the 52-week highs. It gives you more of a short opportunity, but you could possibly have a situation like Microsoft where it was already trading really high and then it ended up going to even newer 52-week highs. It is pulling back to 293 right now, so I think we can expect QQQ to be below 313 today, possibly. Make a day trade out of that. As long as Microsoft is pulling back and Google doesn't, try to balance that out, I think we can take a QQQ call credit spread for today. Assuming below 313. And that's paying a good credit as of right now. 39 cents in credit you're getting for about 50 cents of upside. How many of them I want is going to be the question. How much I'm willing to put up in risk. I'd probably say about 300 would be reasonable, which is 5 of these at 39 cents a pop. So risking 300 to make 200 right now. Roughly assuming QQQ. Oh, wow. They're messing with this bid-ask spread on me. All right. Got in on that trade. New options alert. Day trade. Premium. Just opened a new QQQ call credit spread expiring today, which is the 26th. And I was able to get them at 41 each, actually. So a little bit better than I wanted. Now coming back to 313 wouldn't really shock me. And if we're at 314, then you would start to realize max loss on it. But with Microsoft pulling back from its highs and Google not really moving much, I think it's likely that we stay below the 313, 314 levels. Credit spread for SPY going back to a normal low, like 380 to 399 again. Yeah, it would take probably a while for that to be realized. Probably another couple more weeks of these earnings trades. What is wrong with this? Did I type in 313, 314? I did not type in the strike prices. There we go. But yeah, right now trading at 312.75. Let's see where the other fundamentals are leading us. Oil is coming down at $76 a barrel. So maybe they'll start refilling the SPR like they've been promising for so long, but we'll see about that. The dollar index down to 101.50 or 101.10, sorry, which is a new 2-day low. And if we're looking at the monthly chart, it looks like we're headed back to 100 almost. So not good signs for the dollar at the moment. It's a recessionary right there. Gold is probably going up on this. Yeah, trading at 186 for GLD. Doing pretty well, sticking around that 185 mark. Hasn't really broken too far above it, but still doing well. IWM is the loser for today, down at 173. Probably thanks to FRC, I'm guessing, is what's leading us to the downside. And the issues in the regional banks. Regional bank ETF KRE is at 41.50 as of right now. So this is lowest point that we've seen at this month, and this is actually a new low even after the Silicon Valley Bank meltdown. So that's pretty significant that this would be below 42. Tesla's down 1.7%. Let's see. Yeah, 1.6, 1.7. Trading at 158 right now. This one's a new low for it too. There's a huge gap for it to fill down to 146. I'm not sure the timing on that, but it's a large gap to fill. And then the gap started at 154.75-ish. So we might have to fill that in the near future. Another stock that reported earnings that's doing pretty rough this morning is Enphase, down 25%. They had a 137 earnings per share versus 83 expected, so beat on the earnings per share. compared to last year, they were doing 79 cents, so they're doing better than they were last year. It's a drop quarter over quarter in earnings. Let's see what the revenue is, if we can find that. So they missed their revenue estimates, their guidance for Q2. They estimate $700 to $750 million in revenue versus $772 million expected. So Wall Street did not like the miss on their revenue guidance estimates. And then revenue for this quarter ended up coming in at $726 million versus $732 million expected. So slightly worse than expected, but the big news, I'm guessing, is just because of the revenue outlook not being as good as what Wall Street wanted. All right, Google is making its way back up almost 1% now. So recovering those lows from the morning and trading at the morning highs. So we'll see if we get rejected and just trade in our range here, or if we do end up making our way back up to 106.40 and maybe higher. Talked about Boeing already this morning, but Boeing is doing pretty good, even after a miss on their earnings. It's a defense contractor, so my guess is that they had good guidance. Financial outlook, probably better than expected, since it's a defense company and we have the potential of going to war with China and Taiwan. Plus Russia, Ukraine. Though they're definitely going to benefit from that, being a defense contractor. All right, looks like QQQ is managing its way back up to the morning highs at 313.60. I might have to cut losses for the QQQ call credit spread. If we're going much higher, that's going to put it at risk of max loss above 314. Luckily, I got a decent credit for it, but obviously not as much as it's going for now, since it's up about $1 from when I opened. It's slightly bullish at 54 RSI, but getting rejected so far from that morning high. Let's see, they're going for 53 each, 54, and I opened them for 41, 5 of them. So that'd be about a 60 loss. It's just very dodgy with Google managing its way back up and Microsoft pulling back, but not so much. It's just kind of caught in a balance for right now until one of those two stocks makes a decisive move. But yeah, that's a pretty high on this candle. Pretty big discrepancy from where it's trading now in that high. So a lot of people wanted to sell it at about 316.50 for right now. But right now the trend is slightly bullish at 54 on the RSI, so I think I'm going to get out at 51 for these. The ask is 52, so close. Yeah, there we go. Out at 51, so that was about a 50 loss. Closing options alert. Just cut losses on the 313, 314. QQQ call credit spread expiring today, 4/26 at 51 each. So that one, 50 loss for today. We'll see if we can spot another opportunity. Maybe trading some earnings for later in the week. Visa's doing okay after earnings. Not really moving much, kind of like Google, up about 1%. I wanted to take a put credit spread for Visa. Did not make that move in time. Iron Butterfly, hoping AAL doesn't drop. Wanted to try it out at a $13 strike price with 12 and 14 buys. On American Airlines, trading at 13 right now. Yeah, if you do $1 wide in either direction, you're going to get a good credit, especially ahead of earnings tomorrow. But the likelihood of it being exactly at 13 is a lot lower. So just don't put a lot of money. It has a very good risk reward to begin with, so don't put a lot of risk on the trade, basically. All right, let me log the couple of trades we made this morning. Closing out of the Google at a loss, and that QQQ call credit spread didn't do well. That one I closed yesterday, 4/25. Oh wait, no, I still have the cover calling you, Vixie. But QQQ call credit spread, which is a bearish neutral strategy, expiring today, 3/26. Strike prices were 3/14 that I bought, 3/13 that I sold, 5 at 41, closed at 51 for a 50 loss, and then the GOOG trade that I closed was, let's see, what price? This is 408, and I opened 2 of them. And my credit to close for each was 3.8. So 56 loss. So for April, brings down my profits by $100 today. Still up 350 after a couple good days so far this week. So hopefully we can turn the end of the week around. Really going to depend on earnings trades, probably. GOOG is trading at 106 now, 106.30, so up 1.7%. Microsoft not really pulling back, still up 7%. So yeah, you're getting QQQ rallying at the moment. We'll see what Meta has in store for us. It's up 3% this morning, whereas Google is up 1.5%. So I feel like there's some room for downside on Meta with their earnings report, which is today after hours. Hard to say where it would go, but let's see. Where has it been trading for the past month? It's trading at 213 as of right now, with resistance at about 216. So we could make a call credit spread out of it. My UVIXI cover calls haven't gained anything interesting enough. Kind of wanted to short UVIXI yesterday with a put option, but did not make that trade. I think that being both long and short volatility is probably an advantage in this market. Like whenever volatility pops, you can make money off of that. Like I tried to with Google, obviously that didn't work because volatility did not work my way. But had I shorted volatility with, say, VIX or UVIXI, those two are down this morning, and that would have been a profitable trade. Actually, VIX is up 0.16%, so UVIXI is not really following. But, yeah, my guess 216 for Meta today after hours. They don't have any 216 strike prices. They only do 250 increments. So we would have to choose a 215, 220 call credit spread, which is paying right now 205 with a 230 ask. Risk reward on it isn't great. If we go lower, say we assume that it'll be below 210. That's going for 260 right now. So even a $5 drop isn't that profitable for Meta, or a $3 drop, I guess, for Meta isn't very profitable. Between the two of those trades, I'd rather take the call credit spread. Just for the odds being in your favor. If you're getting about the same risk reward ratio, it makes more sense to go with the call credit spread. You're risking an extra like $20, but your max loss would be above 220 instead of above 215. All right, I'm going to open two of these for 210 credit. I actually got a little bit more, 211 credit each. Just opened a new Meta call credit spread expiring the 28th at 121 each, or 221 each. How would I play UAL? Wanted to do a play on the 27th just to see how it goes and expiring on the 28th. Let's see, UAL already reported earnings, so you already got the big move out of them. You could trade it in sympathy with American Airlines, which is reporting tomorrow after hours. So after maybe AAL reports, if you want to trade it tomorrow, follow, or if you want to trade UAL, do whatever AAL is doing. Follow the trend on it. So if they have a good earnings report and they're going to like high 13s, like 13.50, 14, then you could trade UAL maybe up to like 43, 44. Apple is still not doing too hot, trading at 163. It hasn't seen much love. I would have thought that it would have got some love after Microsoft, but not the case for it. Not the case for them at all. But Google recovering back to 107 now, so that's leading Meta to go up right now. Still have my call credit spreads. How would I play United? Yeah, just follow whatever AAL does tomorrow after earnings. Make it a sympathy trade. Let's see. Kind of thinking of going short VIX. Either that or neutral on Spire QQQ for tomorrow's expiration, given that I am going long volatility on Meta, assuming that it's not going to go up at least. I guess it wouldn't really be long volatility, but ideally the stock drops so I can make profit quicker. But let's see, UVIXY, regular VIX is trading at 1890, which is up 0.16% and holding at about 1865, which was the pre-market lows. UVIXY, on the other hand, not doing as well. Down about 4% as of this morning. Jeez. The $4 puts are going for 12 cents with a break even of 387. Break even is a bit much for the puts unless you're going with like a $5 strike price, which is trading for $95 as of right now. So a break even of 405, which is about the price that it's trading at right now for UVIXY at 404. Delta is like 90, so the odds of being in the money is very high. And the price target that I would probably set, if Meta does have better than expected earnings, I think that QQQ would get a good rally back solidly above the 313 level that it has held above for the last month. And maybe we drop back down to like 390 or so. So my break even is about 4. So that would be about $10 for every $100 that I spend. Kind of expensive in terms of risk reward ratio. Isn't great. And then like best case scenario would probably be going down to 385. So that would make you 15 for every $100 that you spend. The calls were a lot better in terms of risk reward ratio a couple of days ago. Why is Tesla down today? Oh, God knows. Tesla always has some crazy news going on. They ended up losing their support that they were finding at about 162. Let's see. General Motors races ahead in efforts to catch up with Tesla with their 2 Hummer EV sales each quarter. Tesla Autopilot, full self-driving are safer than average U.S. cars. Jeffrey downgrades Tesla to hold from a buy, adjusting their price target to 185 from 230. So you're getting analyst downgrades, cutting the price target by about 20%. You're seeing some bulls starting to capitulate in Tesla. I think, what is his name? Gerber Kawasaki or whatever. He ended up selling out of some of his shares, like 30% of his shares, and put that money somewhere else. I forget what company it was. Started with an L. So you're seeing some bulls, some large bulls capitulating in Tesla, fed up with the idea that they won't do advertising and what else is the argument? The dropping of the prices in the recent months. But the company's goal is to accelerate the world's transition to electric or sustainable energy, and to do that you have to lower prices because nobody can afford a $55,000-$60,000 vehicle anymore, especially with interest rates as high as they are. Elon Musk is putting in this Shiba Inu. Yeah, he's putting it all into Dogecoin. He's betting Tesla on Dogecoin. All right, Meta is pulling back. Thank you very much. T1235. Google not really moving much yet, but we'll see if this is a precursor to Google pulling back or not. Amazon is reporting earnings on Thursday. Again, this is one that I think is already priced in. They're up like 3% today, though, so maybe some more room for downside. I would assume probably below 108 would be my guess. I'd probably do like a 108, 110 call credit spread, so like $2 wide instead of the usual $1 wide. That'll help with your break even. Although you won't get as much credit to collateral. You can get about $75 for 200 collateral, so you're risking about $125 to make $75. It's an okay trade, not the best. What do I see SPY closing at today? Trading at 406.20 at the moment. That 406 mark is getting very, very close. I think that we would stay above it, though. Just given that tech earnings was okay. Not really sure what's weighing down SPY. Maybe energy, but energy doesn't have that high of a weight to it. But if you're looking at like XLK, this is up 1.6%. XLP staples are down like 0.3%. XLE, the big loser today, is down 1.2%. What other? Healthcare. I forget what the healthcare is. XLV. Oh, wow. XLV is down pretty rough. 1.8% right now. Let's see. I think Thermo was supposed to report this. Yeah, they reported at 5.03 earnings per share versus 4.95 expected. So slightly worse or slightly better than expectations, but still fell. A year ago, they were doing 5.08 earnings per share. So they're still holding their earnings power, which is good. But a small drop. Oh, wait, they were doing 5.51 actually. So about a 10% reduction in their earnings per share. I think Thermo at about 5.20 is actually a decent buying price and something that I might start to dollar cost average into. Healthcare usually does better during a recession, and with this trading close to the 52-week lows, I think that's a pretty good purchase, long term at least. Yeah, that meta trade is already working out for me, up already $16, $18 for it. So those dropped in price pretty damn quick. With meta down to 211. Kind of wish I had bought puts on it, but it is what it is. I would say if you are going to buy puts instead of just regular, or if you're going to buy puts instead of spreads, I would close it before the closing bell today. That's what I regret with Google yesterday. Those were trading for like $4.75, and I ended up having to sell them at $3.80 this morning after the Ivy crush. So sell it before the Ivy crush. But if you're doing spreads, you don't really have to worry about it. You just need to choose the right strike price for it to be above or below. The VIX is up 1%, almost 2% today. QQQ is back down to 312.70. Everything's in the green for the earnings playlist besides Visa. Google's still at 106. And Microsoft is still up 7.25%. So kind of interesting that QQQ is breaking down right now. You're seeing some local highs for Amazon, Meta, Google pulling back from 107. Kind of tempted to trade Google down to 103, but let me see. That 108 put that I had earlier is going for 250, so your break even is 105.40. Only down about 40 cents from where it's trading right now. Oh, the bid ask on it is like 40 cents wide though. Yikes. No thanks. If I went with an ask price at 290, my break even would be, let's see, 105.10. So I would need it to drop another $1 from where it's trading right now, which I don't think I'd be willing to take that risk. But yeah, markets are pulling back with SPY below 406 now. So you're seeing 405.50. QQQ is still holding, but not as well as it was. At 312.50, up 0.8%. Mostly thanks to Microsoft. And then, let's see, the Dow is actually down 0.4%. So the staples, industrials, those are down pretty rough. And then IWM down the worst, 0.75% as of right now. What time did they close out? What time is the process? It's at 3:30 for Robinhood. Most other brokers will allow you to hold it, and they will close at 3:45. I really wish I got Meta puts to sell later today, but did not capture that opportunity. The call credit spreads I got are about $32 positive for right now. Well, let's see. If I buy the puts on Meta are expensive. Very, very expensive. $1,000 if you want to buy the 212.50 put with a break even of 202.50. No, thank you. That's expensive as hell. Can't be me trading those options. Google puts look better, but GOOG and Google, the two ticker symbols, have about a $60 difference between the two of them right now. The bid ask on the Google 108 put is 280 now for the ask and 270 for the bid. So that's a little bit better. I could say that it'll fall another 30 cents. It would be nice to see 103, but definitely less likely. I'm going to try it. 285 is what I'm paying for it. Re-entry for this trade. New options alert. Premium. Just bought a new GOOG 108 put expiring 4/28 at 285. So just opening one of these and hoping that we fall just below about 105 would be nice. I'm not going to take a huge profit on it, but if this starts selling off with Meta coming down, could have a decent opportunity on our hands. Let me type in the couple new trades that I got. Both open today. Meta. GOOG. Call credit spread. I can just copy and paste what I've got here. 3/28 expiration, and this one is a long put, which is a bear strategy. 3/28 expiration, 108 strike price that I paid 1,285 for, and then the call credit spreads for Meta. 220 that I bought, 215 that I sold. Two of them at 221 credit a piece. The delta on the 108 puts for Google is 74, so if it drops to 105, might be able to make about $60 or something on it. Which is getting close to, but still about 60 cents off, and you have that. You have some supports about 105.50, I'm guessing. Let's see. Let me pull up the volume profile, see where everybody is buying and selling it at. Yeah, you've got some supports just below at 105.65, down to about 105.30, which is my break-even price. So hopefully we can get past this volume block between those prices, but no promise there. FRC got halted again. Oh man. Yeah, down 35% today. Tough day for FRC. After yesterday too. Did they get halted at all yesterday, or is it just today? Let's see. Why are they getting hammered? I think it's pretty obvious, but possible bank runs is what people are worried about with FRC. And it's not the bank that gets bailed out, it's just the depositors. Meta is down to 211, so you're going to have some supports roughly at about 210. And then again for Google at about 105.66 or so. QQQ is just sitting right below 313. And SPY surprisingly down 0.2%, whereas QQQ is holding up 0.9. Usually you don't see that big of a discrepancy between the two of them. But basically, every other industry that's not tech is getting hammered today. Is it better to do QQQ or SPY options? QQQ is less expensive just because their stock is cheaper, or their ETF is cheaper at $300 instead of $400. So I would say better to go with QQQ if you're working with less money. But that being said, it's not very significant. It's like 20% discount or something like that. I'd say the best thing that you can do with a small account, get approval for level 3 options and trade spreads. That way, all you need is like $100 of collateral in order to start. No problem, Joshua. Coming back to that 105.60 support. Hopefully we don't get trapped in this little 20-cent range, but with my luck, probably. What is the worst case scenario for a spread option? You can run into what's known as pin risk, where the stock is between your strike prices after expiration, and what happens is your broker will cancel the assignment or exercising for the option that's out of the money. And in that case, you would have to either buy or sell 100 shares of the stock. So if there's any chance that the stock could be between your strike prices before expiration, you should close it. Usually your broker will do it for you, but if they don't, for some reason, try to close your spread before it expires. But if your spread is trading for like $0 or $100, depending on if it's debit or credit spread, usually in that case, the odds of that happening to you is like less than 1%, so you can usually just hold it. Google is just playing around with me. Right after I bought that put, it just stalls. Gotta love it. What's a good play for SPY puts? Maybe for the end of the week, assuming that we'll go down to like, let's see. There's another gap at about 404. So maybe fill in the gap down there. Another $2 down from where it's trading right now. So about 0.5% between now and April 28th. So a put option with a 404 break even would be a decent choice, I think. but that is contingent on the rest of the earnings trades for this week, with Amazon, Meta both reporting. Meta today after hours, and then Amazon tomorrow after hours. They're really burning time between 105 or 106 and 105.60 for Google right now. Starting to be slightly to the bearish side with the MACD crossing over and RSI at 54, so it's not quite bearish there yet, but MACD crossover could be a potential bearish sign. Still a lot of support at about 105.60 though, with a volume between 105.70 and 105.25. Hopefully we can test below the supports, but hasn't cracked yet. May 1st at 398. You get about a week until that expires. And you're calling for 398. That's pretty sizable move. It's possible. But I would probably mix that in with some volatility shorts, just in case you don't see that kind of crazy volatility for the next week. So like shorting either the VIX, UVIXY, or something in order to balance that trade would probably be necessary to make sure you don't lose everything you put into it. Just bought puts for Microsoft and installed. Yeah. Markets seem to love to want to do that as soon as you open a trade up. Just about break even, down like $10 on the trade right now. I'm hoping we can get a flush below these volume levels between 105.70 and 105.30, but it's just trading right in between the volume levels at 106 to 107. So you've got resistance at 106 and then supports at about 105.70 that we're testing right now. Meta's below 211 again, so I would think that would bring Google down with it, but not moving yet. Debit spread, debit credit spread. Not sure. Maybe a put debit spread, you mean? Down to 171. That could work out, but it's already down about 0.5% and trading at the lows already. If you do like a 171, 170 put credit spread, that might be a good idea. Assuming that it's not going to fall much further than it already has, unless the small banks continue to unfold. But man, Google, snail pace. I also probably overpaid for the options. Which doesn't help. Too much support at those lows. 105.60. Every single low is touching that. Yeah, put credit spread on IWM could be a good trade. Amazon's pulling back a little bit right here. Went down to 105, a little bit below it. Down from 106, but immediately popping back off of that. Microsoft still holding up 7.5%, 296 right now. Now we're going back to 106 for Google. What an annoying balance that we have. 40 cents. Thinking about turning it into a put debit spread, just assuming that it'll be below 107. Might be a better trade to take. It's 179. I bought the other one for 285. So that means I'm paying $90 to make 10. No, not a huge fan. Feel like watching paint dry on Google. Yeah. Exactly. Just trading in like a 40-cent range. The worst. But yeah, you have resistance right above at about 106, and then you have supports at about 105.60, but it just doesn't want to break out in either direction as of yet. MACD is crossing over to the bearish side. RSI is still above 50, so those are conflicting signals, and probably why you're getting this back and forth. My guess, though, with Meta pulling back decently, I think that could weigh negatively on Google. But could also be the other way around, too. Maybe Google is weighing negatively on Meta. They're just kind of trading hand in hand with one another. Saw a good rise in the first 30 minutes, but then fell right back after. Google hasn't pulled back as much, though. My break even for these trades is 105.15. So it's not a lot that it has to drop, but getting past these supports is the tough part. And I think once we can finally go below it, if we finally go below it, then you'll get a decent speed to the downside, hopefully. Meta definitely looks more negative than Google does right now. With the MACD going negative on the blue, the faster moving line, and the yellow still slightly above it, but almost moving negative. Below 50 RSI, so that's bearish. So between the two of them, I would say Meta is more bearish than Google right now. Well, next month is May, and you have the old saying, sell in May, go away. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Usually the summer months are pretty good for the stock market. At least over the last couple of years, they've been especially good. But that was also during, unlimited quantitative easing, whereas now we have record quantitative tightening. So summer should be interesting this year, to say the least. Especially going into recession probably by like October or so, second half of this year, probably fourth quarter. Oh, come on, Google. It's like 6 cents. 6 cents to the downside is all I need. It's literally been trading in this range for 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35 minutes that it's been trading up and down 40 cents. And this could be the start to the leg down, but hasn't broke the support yet. Very close to it. Must be Dwayne The Rock Johnson at that support level. Yeah, something. Somebody wants to keep it above that 105.60 mark. Really bad. Looks like Meta is pulling back up, so might be raising the price for Google. Could see that 106 resistance again here. Maybe. I wouldn't expect any divergence between the two of them. So with Meta going up, I would think that would send Google up. But definitely seeing some divergence starting for right now. Phase went to 220 to 170. Yeah, they were down like 25% or something earlier. Down about 23% as of right now. So pretty rough earnings, even though it was a beat. Their guidance was pretty poor for the next quarter, which is why they're down right now. So much of 23%. Damn, that 105.60 level. Tough cookie to crack. How long can we trade in a 40-cent range? Maybe longer than I can hold this option. We'll see. Going for 270 now. I got it for 285. So I could cut losses at 15. But I hate cutting losses whenever it's just not moving. Because then if it does start to move, then obviously I'd make more profit. what's my story of getting into stocks? I've been into the stock market since 2016, so about 7 years now. Always was kind of the entrepreneur type. So I was really into, business news and things like that. And I've been watching earnings reports really since I started trading in 2016. Not really sure what attracted stocks to me, but I think my first investment was like GoPro. I thought GoPro would be a big thing, and back in 2016, that was not a great investment. For the next 5 years, it was a long-term investment. I think I started with some basic app, I forget, like Acorns or something like that. Started investing through there, and then I started investing in individual stocks through Robinhood. I didn't get into options trading until 2020, back in March of 2020, right when the big crash happened, because a lot of people were starting to talk about options back then. So that's what got me into options, and then just been into stocks since I was very young. Ever since I was 20 years old. I was computer science major, so not really, related in terms of my education. But I ended up dropping out of my CS degree in order to pursue trading full time and making these videos, which has worked out pretty well. I make about the same that I would have as a entry-level software engineer, so it's pretty nice, I would say. And I get the freedom of my time. All right. That stupid 105.60 level, man. Tempting me to get out of this trade. The VIXI cover calls that I sold yesterday are up a little bit. Tried to get 22. I sold them for 25. So didn't get a lot of credit out of it. My expiration is 5/19, so I have a long way to wait on those for them to lose value. So if the volatility doesn't pop in the next few weeks, that trade ought to be good. And that would need a 20% pop for VIX to send those in the money and have to sell my 100 shares of UVXC, so not really worried about that for right now. Man, Google though. Crazy. Crazy, this little range. Warren Buffett himself doesn't want Google to go down. They are ruthlessly buying at 105.60. It's literally 3 cents away. If I had a share of it, I would just sell it at 105.63. Send it crashing. No, you can't really do that. You're just going to get whatever the best bid is. So you would just get 105.66 for it. They're definitely building the suspense here, though. Definitely build in some suspense. You're right at 50 on the RSI. So still barely bullish. Thank you, Invest93. Appreciate that. All right. Well, looks like we got that support. Meta's still pulling back. But Google still holding 105.60 to save its life. So I'm probably going to head out of this trade. Waited too long. At 260. Could be able to get out at 265 if it comes back down, but looking at Meta pulling back up. Meta's looking more bullish. So it seems like Meta is just kind of amplifying whatever Google is doing right now. Oh, they lower the bid on me by like 10 cents. Oh, that sucks. Asks for too much on that. Damn, they're moving that bid down. Now it's above 106. So that was your resistance that it just broke past. Then you have 106.40. 2. I'm going to try to get out at 245, maybe 250. But yeah, catching that bid at that support level that I stayed at for a while and then going right above the resistance seems more bullish right now. And I do not want to hold that loss. Luckily, I only bought one instead of a couple of them. All right. Watch us pull right back after I close that. Just cut losses for the GOOG put expiring 4/28 at 240, 108 strike price. What's the blue graph? This is the volume. Volume in relation to price, what's known as the volume profile tool. So this will tell you where people are buying and selling at. So you can use this as a kind of support or resistance level where we saw a lot of the volume coming in at 105.70 to 105.60. So that was your support. People kept buying and buying and buying down there, and then people are selling at above 106, right? That's where a lot of the volume came in above, and then you have a lot of volume just below it. So that's why you got trapped in this little range between 106 and 105.60 for the past hour. But now you might be finally seeing a break with the going into the upper volume range above 106 right now. All right. Let me log that on my sheet. I sold it for 240. So that one, well, that is a broken. There we go. 45 loss. These are broken. But pulling back down at 106. Still got the meta trade on. So kind of a sympathy trade with Google, and they report after hours today. And that'll probably be my last trade for the day. So still holding on to the call credit spreads for Meta below 215. And Google had to take the loss on just because it wasn't moving quick enough for my liking. And ended up catching some supports at 105.60. Probably going to crash right below it after I close that trade, but that's okay. And I will catch y'all tomorrow at 9:30. See everybody.